Well, I was looking for a follow-up project to Icarus, and I set out in my mind kind of a checklist of things that I needed for myself to want to take on a project and commit to it fully in the very quick aftermath of Jamal's murder. I saw a story surrounding freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of journalism, freedom of thought, freedom of opinion, and a 60-year-old Washington Post journalist who had been murdered for speaking truth to power. And, this story captured me. And the story of Hatice Cengiz, his fiance, captured me. And very shortly, in the days following his murder, a story broke in the New York Times about Omar Abdulaziz, the young Saudi dissident living in self-exile in Montreal, who was claiming that he essentially knew why Jamal was murdered and blamed himself partially for this murder because they had been working together.
Jamal Khashoggi, prominent Saudi journalist and Washington Post columnist, has gone missing after visiting his country's consulate in Istanbul.
The story triggered for me, my desire to make films that have an activist component to them, especially under the 4 years of the United States living under the Trump administration, wherein we saw our freedom of press being challenged, our freedom of thought and opinion being challenged, a free press being challenged, that the story felt all the more urgent. As to what it triggered in me, it triggered in me a call for justice. As a filmmaker, which I consider myself first and foremost, and I use film as a medium to tell stories and hopefully tell stories that can have impact and change. This story certainly checked those boxes.
The king firmly denies any knowledge of it. It could have been rogue killers, who knows?
I don't know who is so scared about it to censor it. All that I know is that the film was not acquired for global distribution, despite tremendous reviews at the Sundance Film Festival and a ton of other media outlets. So, clearly there is not been a desire to not have the film be widely released.
We knew that they would try to sweep the whole thing under the rug.
Well, I think the movie answers these questions. I think viewing the film shows, his intentions and why, certainly without justification. But, authoritarian governments and dictatorships in this day and age have shown that they are capable of extremely ruthless behavior to quiet its critics or its dissidents. I mean, if you look at what has been going on with Alexei Navalny in Russia, or dating back to 2006 and Alexander Litvinenko, this kind of action taken by authoritarian regimes is not new. I think what is most shocking about the crime is how they carried out this murder with such brutality, how they tried to cover it up.
Buhar olup uçmadı.
Can you tell me what happened to Mr. Khashoggi?
Saudi Arabia now suddenly is admitting that Khashoggi did die inside that building.
It's been 2 years and 4 months since Jamal's murder, and where the film ends is still where the current situation is. There's been no justice or accountability for his murder. It appears that the Biden administration is optimistically looking to take action. Omar's brothers and friends still remain imprisoned. And Hatice is still carrying on her work, fighting for justice for Jamal, and hopefully on the other side of this pandemic, she'll be able to return to Washington, D.C., where she was in the process of forming a foundation to fight for justice for Jamal. And Omar carries on his work, trying to free Saudi political prisoners and trying to create a situation where Saudis don't have to be scared to have freedom of press or freedom of speech. It's been amazing that Omar and Hatice have supported the film as I made the film for them. It's always a proud moment as a filmmaker when the people that you make the film for are not only proud of your work, but support your work. And I hope the film will bring some positive change, but also keep audiences that see the film on the edge of their seat.
Warren Jamal. Once you start working with us, you're not just a journalist, you're a dissident.